some of them, they won't even say where their children are. But they make a lot of utterances. The politicians are also putting pressure on INEC. The politicians, the political parties are more interested in who, or as you said, there's intra-party conflicts here and there. So at the end of the day, one wonders, how do we begin this process of educating the uneducated, so to speak, who might even be more educated than, education is not necessarily about going to school.
True.
Now, so how do we begin this process? Is it too late?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's too late anyway, but we still have to do a lot. And when you start late, the meaning you have to do a lot to make up for starting late. And like she mentioned the issue of religious leaders, we are very much aware of the role of religious leaders, especially in educating the grassroots community. The people who are really at the forefront of this, because they are Nigerians, they are the citizens, and they are more in population than even these politicians we're talking about. So the religious leaders and the traditional leaders, they have a huge role to play.
Let's begin with you.
Thank you.
How do you handle this?
Yeah.
Every time you have your faithful come to pray, come to worship, how do you handle this?
Well, we've been given an opportunity by Almighty God, and that's Fridays, Sundays, as religious leaders, you have the opportunity twice in a week to speak to your congregation. And some of our concern, major concern, in the past and presently, is that some religious leaders use this opportunity to misinform the congregation. But we have tried to bring religious leaders together at this time. That's why we started the Interfaith Citizen Observers. And the whole thing is that we need to engage religious leaders.
Interfaith?
Citizen Observers. Observers. We need to engage religious leaders. First of all, you need to train the trainers. You need to engage those that will engage the grassroots. What are they telling the people? It's very important to us. At this point, we need to bring our religion as secondary and bring nationalism as at the forefront, as the first thing we need. We are Nigerians, and we should know that our religion is personal. We must ensure that if this country collapses, then our religion will have problems. That is why we have brought religious leaders to educate the Nigerian citizens. One, that they must get their PVCs and they must vote. They must not sell their votes. And that's why we are campaigning against vote buying. They must ensure that during the election, they must not engage in any form of violence.
I'm sure they have told you that they are hungry. So all this one you're talking is grammar. I will collect money for my vote if anybody is offering.
Well, we will not promote that because we know it is not good for our society. It's not good for our democracy. We would, even as religious leaders, we had a conference last week and we told all religious leaders, we know we have been found wanting in this area, whereby some politicians will come to, at this time, this is when you see them in the church, in the mosque, they will come to you, come and pray for us, and from there they penetrate, and they want you to go out there and tell your congregation that please vote me. This time we are resisting because this has been done in the past and it doesn't work, it didn't work. And that is why we find ourselves in this situation. And we must ensure that people don't sell their vote. We are campaigning against that seriously. We are going on radio programs so that every Nigerian will get this message. And we are using about 5 languages to do this. Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Pidgin, English, so that everybody will know that you must not set your vote. And also, using the pulpit to incite people against one another during the election is also another issue we are contending with. And with this campaign we're doing, we have been educating religious leaders and even faith-based organizations to carry out similar campaigns within their communities to educate the people that you must not engage in violence. If you are caught, the government, the law will take its place on you. We are very, very much committed to that. And we are doing this with all sense of commitment and sincerity.
But you see, Taiwo, while they are doing that, again, the people themselves, do you see a buy-in? I mean, you see on social media and everywhere, even the musicians, the actors, the artists are all doing one thing or the other. Don't sell your votes, don't be used, don't be violent, don't be used. But are the electorate, buying into this?
I think that people are gradually becoming aware. Because I think before, it wasn't seen as an offense. It was just a way of livelihood. If someone comes, I collect, and then... But now, everybody knows it's an offense.
But should it be about the offense, or should it be something that's from within? I mean, if it comes from within, knowing that that's what it ought to be.
Sometimes the punitive measure also has a way of deterring people from doing the wrong thing.
Says the lawyer.
So I think that, yes, it's been spoken about. People are beginning to have a rethink. And then also the force of the law also. I think all of that put together has a way of finally driving home the point. And then probably if there are one or two offenders that are caught and punished, people would know that, okay, the government is serious.
Okay. Taiwo, let's come back to you. We're going to talk about that picture on social media and what we can do to get out of... Jonah. Well, so, Jonah, you're going to talk about that picture and then what can be done to get us out of this situation.
Okay, I totally agree with what everyone has said, which has to do with orientation, educating the populace. But the question is, to what extent will that do in the next 2 weeks? To what extent? How can we get out of that in the next 2 weeks? While that is very, very good, I still think we still need to go a bit further. We need to go a bit further by ensuring, INEC needs to assure us that it will truly be independent in actually conducting the elections. The political parties need to be intolerant. They need to be able to tolerate themselves. The law enforcement agents, the IG needs to assure us that they will not be biased in carrying out their duties. Because just educating will actually not out of this mess. And lastly, the candidates, they must be willing to go by the peace pact they have signed, and also not to display actions that will incite their followers or make provocative statements that will incite the followers.
Okay. Thank you very much. Jonah, where you are is really network's not helping us. But we have some mails that have come in here. We have this one by Upuada, who's writing in from Bunny, asking if the elections will be postponed. There is no indication. There's no indication of that, Upuada, please. The elections are happening in March. That's for the presidential and the federal house of...
in 2 weeks.
February. What did I say? February. In 2 weeks, please. The elections are happening in 2 weeks. That's the presidential and the National Assembly elections. And then in March is when we're having the governorship elections. So, Upuada, please take note. Then we have this on from Bingpe Adebambo. Bingpe, please, this program is not a phone-in program. You said we were trying to call. This is not a phone-in. For now, the phone lines on this program have been rested. But we have your mail here. It says, we're talking to ourselves. The people who need to do the needful are not watching. The electoral process is even trying to frustrate us by not allowing us to vote where we will happen to be on the day of elections. Some have moved homes and some might be away for work. So we cannot vote if we don't travel back to where we registered. Can INEC tell us exactly what to do? You know, these are some of the issues that some people have had. Some have moved and have said they are not able to get their PVCs transferred to where they are. They've made the request. Some are still trying to go through the process of requesting. So there are frustrations on the part of the electorate. There's frustrations on the part of even INEC seems to be under a lot of pressure. Yeah. So how can we get out of this? It's like a lot of questions back and forth. Imam.
Thank you. Yeah, it has been like this before, and there are some sort of improvements. Now, what we need to do is to go by the process that is available to us. And we know, that is why we're talking about ensuring that you vote the right people there, so that the system the mechanism for election will change in the future. In the civilized world of today, people should be able to vote anywhere they are. In the civilized world of today, if I've registered in somewhere and I've moved on, you should be able to transfer my registration to where I am staying. Yeah. Another point is that some of us as citizens, we are not even doing our own part in this regard. If you ask INEC, there are a lot of PVCs out there people have refused to pick up. Some people have not gotten their PVC, and they have given ample of time for you to get this, and you are not doing that. Even if you go to INEC, they will tell you that you can transfer your voters from one place to the other, but people are not doing all these things. Okay. Nigerians are so about
okay. Now, there's a comment from Festus. Hunger is not an excuse to sell votes. There's hunger in many countries, including the UK, where nearly 1 million people depend on the food bank. Well, the difference, Festus, is that there's no food bank in Nigeria. And I think that's a good place to leave it this morning. We apologize for that bad connection with Jonah, but we had Jonah talking to us via Skype and telephone. And then we had Taiwo Adegbe, who's a legal practitioner, and Imam Abdul Karim Shefiu, co-executive director, Strengths in Diversity Development Center. Thank you all very much for coming to share your insights with us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Sunrise will be back with another interesting conversation in just a moment. Do stay with us.